topic for today is how to stop wasting your life, the enemies, and the solutions. So, I'm the type of person that when I start to actually think more deeply about screen time, for example, or some of the other things we're going to talk about in this video, some of the other like enemies and time wasters, it honestly puts me into a panic. Like, I just like the thought of the amount of years of our life we are losing to some of these things. It's really intimidating. And I'm challenging myself and everyone else to instill solutions in their life so that we can hopefully waste less time together. So I'm going to get into it. And I think it's genuinely a serious topic to me. I've been paying for like Opal, for example, for the last year to reduce screen time. So I already have started with a lot of stuff like that, but I aspire to do more, and maybe it interests you as well. So let's jump into it. So the first of the three sort of enemies that I have coined them as is screens. So I can link this article in the description, but essentially studies point to an average of 3 to 4 hours a day of screen time, while the most afflicted spend most of their day glued to their screen. And again, we're not even accounting for people who work remote and work on a screen. With an average of 4 hours, and again, that's recreational screen use. In 60 years of existence, that's 10 years of your life that's swallowed up by these electronic devices. That's doom scrolling, watching other people on TikTok, on Instagram, and essentially your attention and time is the most valuable thing in your life. And yet, it's the thing that we are most willing to give away. And that has always been a really powerful thought for me. So, 10 years of our life, that's terrifying in my opinion. So yeah, let's move on to the next, and then we'll return back to it after. Worrying about what other people think. This is something I've experienced, and everybody else, I think, many people in my life, my friends, my family as well. When we are too worried about what other people think or we fear being judged, it influences our own behavior to a point where we are unable to be ourselves. So we feel uncomfortable and unsure about our actions, our own personality, and it leads us to being inauthentic. And I think that that is pretty powerful as well, because think about it, if you are not being yourself, that's also time wasted. That's time lost. You're essentially living in some sort of parallel universe. You're acting like this whole different person that doesn't feel true to who you are. And not to mention how draining, emotionally draining that is. That is time lost to the highest degree, in my opinion. Last one we are going to touch base on before we get into the more positive, solution oriented mind frame is stress. So, according to this study, stress can reduce a person's lifespan by multiple years. And again, happy to link in the description the three ways that this is happening, that this is reducing your life, is by cardiovascular health issues, decreased immune response, so you're not able to fight diseases as well, and lastly, rapid cellular aging, so aging on a biocellular level. So, kind of terrifying stuff. Again, I think we're becoming more and more aware of that in our society, but still, I think it's important that we like face the facts over here, even if it is kind of would be easier to just stick our head in the sand and not think about it. But if we do that, we're not going to actually improve and find solutions. So, in this new kind of, as we go into the new year, but wherever you are in your life watching this, whatever time of your year it is, I challenge you to implement one thing in your life for each of these. So I'm going to give an example for each. For screens, so I have Opal as an app that I got about a year ago, but essentially you can put in it very, very strict blockers that actually you can't override. Like, you can set it up in the most difficult level, you cannot override it. Like, there's no way to override it. You would have to wait for like the block to be over, however long that is, 4 hours, 6 hours, 8 hours, whatever it is. Super, super helpful. You can use it on your laptop, on your phone, and that is something that I think is really important. I have a nighttime block on, so the nighttime block, it'll like shut off apps like Instagram at say like 10 p.m. and then it won't allow me to access those again until like 9 a.m. the next day. So that's like one example of how you can use it. For worrying about what other people think, I think that is so hard because it's like a visceral response almost. It is so, so hard. But I would say it's hard to make something like a concrete framework for this. But I would say that it's really helpful to sort of like, if you feel the inclination to please, like for example, somebody texted you and you feel like you need to text back within a certain time frame, challenge yourself to wait for like 4 hours or something like that. Challenge yourself to wait and to not think, like try to distract yourself, go do something else. And the more and more that you work that muscle, you will be able to get better at that and to do it more often naturally. And it's not about being selfish, but it's just about like being true to yourself. If you don't feel like texting that person back immediately and it's truly just to please them or to further your own like social status or something, just try not to. And if you keep doing that, however difficult it will be, it will become more natural and it will become instinctual for you. Last one for stress. I think that, again, such a visceral thing, really, really difficult. One thing that I think is great for stress is exercise. So if you exercise regularly, especially aerobic exercise, that is actually incredibly amazing for stress management. And it's also time that you're putting into something positive and healthy, while typically you might have gone and stress ate or gone and done something else just for the sake of trying to feel better. So exercise is the one that I would attribute to this, but of course there are so many different answers for all of these. I am just making this as a catalyst for hopefully you to implement one thing for each of these enemies to hopefully continue your year or go into the new year anew and with a new mindset on how you are going to combat these things.